All right, welcome to the Creation to Cash Flow podcast. On this podcast, we discuss strategies to maximize your creativity and help you achieve financial freedom. How's it going, Michelle? How you feeling?
I slept 2 hours last night. Um, I'm exhausted, but I'm in my new penthouse apartment. What is happening? I can't believe I just said those words. I actually have not said those words. Like, I'm in the penthouse. If you guys have heard the past couple episodes, you know that it was like, oh, this is a possibility. Oh, this isn't happening. Oh, wait, this is happening. And now I'm here. And I'm like, whoa, how is this happening? But my spirits are good. I'm just tired. I moved all day the past couple days. And yeah, but overall, I'm just grateful. I'm just very zen.
I love it. I'm
How
so
are you?
happy for you. You're very high up. The view behind you is amazing.
30 floors.
30 floors. Wow.
Crazy.
Isn't there a thing in LA called June Doom or June Gloom?
June gloom.
Mm,
Feels like doom. Yeah, so there's May gray and June gloom, and basically it's just the marine layer has not been burned off yet. It typically happens after noon. So, that's another reason I love this freaking apartment because I get the sunset now. So I don't even care because by the time it's like 1 p.m., the sun is just beaming through my windows. It's just pretty. So yeah, June gloom is in full effect right now on June 19th, 2024, as you can see.
got it. Got it. Very exciting and very excited for you. That kind of leads us into what we're going to talk about today, and we're going to talk about how important that your environment is because it truly makes all of the difference. Like if you're one of those people that sometimes you're like, oh, I'm just unmotivated or I can't bring myself to work or whatever the thing is, you're probably I mean, sure, there might be things like inner work you could do, but a lot of the time your environment plays a massive role in how you feel, your motivation levels, and I think the big one is how inspired you feel. I mean, Michelle, 2 hours of sleep, um, but, like, you're probably feeling so damn inspired, and you're like, "That's the only reason I could even do this today."
Yeah, because I'm doing something I care about and that I enjoy, and I feel inspired. You're right, dude. If there was something else somebody needed me to do, I'm like, there's no way I can summon up the energy. But somehow there are circumstances where what I think I can't do, it's just like everything is surpassed of my understanding, and it's just like I can do this. This is crazy. How?
And you're also like you're in a now inspiring environment. Like imagine we had to do this podcast and you were in like a, a terrible motel in a dark corner of a room and you had 2 hours of sleep. You would be like, hey, actually, can't do it today.
I'm gonna go stare at the wall and go under the covers and cry. Yeah, that's the doom that you're talking about. The June doom would be me in a dark anything because that's just so not how I'm inspired personally.
So let's talk about some of the times in your life where you've changed your environment. It could be where you live, it could be where you work, it could just be where you spend your mornings. But I want to just hear you like talk about some times in your life where you made an environmental change and how it affected you.
Oh my god, I've done this so many times. Um, I will say one of the biggest things that was very helpful for me was changing my environment for my career, meaning I film content, I film interior design content, and it used to take so much time and energy to set up my home to be more bright because that's just the what I like. I like creating in a bright environment that's aesthetically pleasing. And I used to say like I just don't have an aesthetic home, which you don't need one, you can make it work without one. But there came a point where I was like, I need to get around the environment that inspires me and motivates me so I can make more money. It's not about what I have right now. It's about where do I need to be to where I can do what I know I'm supposed to be doing. And so we sold our house. And I don't know if you know this, Nick, but when you purchase a home, you have to pay capital gains tax if you sell the home within like less than 2 years of owning it. And so we were 1.5 years in and I was like, I've gotta go. Like, I know we can only like 6 more months and we won't have to pay all this tax, but I was like, we've gotta go. Like, I need an inspiring environment. That's when we moved to LA. Like, we sold our comfort zone and moved here. And I've been so inspired and motivated ever since. And it's just like even the first apartment here, it wasn't as bright. And I was like, I need something for my career. This is so important to me because this is what I'm doing and this is going to bring me joy. So I had to be so intentional with like, I'm not just because I own a home doesn't mean I'm stuck there forever. I can make my decisions. I'm not a tree. I can move. Like I have autonomy over my decisions in life. And I had to it was hard though. I had to come to that realization and be like, I'm going to stop making an excuse and complaining about my home and I'm going to move somewhere I know is going to benefit me. And it was the best thing ever.
And I think the big thing too is like you picked a place that would actually inspire you. Like you didn't want floor to ceiling windows like just to show off or like
No.
just like you wanted it so that you not only can make better well lit content, of course, obviously that's important to a creator, but just so that you can wake up every day and just feel inspired to actually create.
Yeah, and I do. That's the thing. I love looking out. Like I knew I wanted something that had a view because I didn't want to look out and see my fence anymore. I was like, I want to see people. I want to see cars. I want to see the train, the metro right now is just going by. There's like a baseball field with kids playing and some dogs. Like I just love seeing movement and like the world. It makes me feel so important like in a way of like I can do something. I matter. Like I can make a difference kind of thing. And so that's what inspires me.
And there's in a weird way, there's something so inspiring about being high off the ground. Like, I assume most of the people listening to this have been fortunate enough to go stay in a hotel somewhere, and you're high up off the ground and you look down and it just makes you feel like that good. You're like, yeah, like it's not that you're better than those people, it's that you get to see them. You get to see them living life and it inspires you to live your own life.
Yeah, I love being off the ground. Like even when we buy a house one day, I still want to be like on a hill or something. I feel safe. Like I feel more safe as well. Like when my husband was deployed for a year, I felt safe being off the ground because it wasn't as accessible. And I liked that, you know, but I do. I love seeing what other people are doing and just like getting out of my own head because with ADHD, I can be in such analysis paralysis for so many hours at a time. But when I like look out and I see other people doing things, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, no, I'm living life. I'm a human. I'm alive. I should be doing things too.
Yeah. No, it's so true. It's so true. And like the biggest example of this I could think of, I think I've mentioned before that like where I used to work was in the basement of a place and like we called it the dungeon because there were no windows, so it was so uninspiring. There was just one little like one of those really like at the top of the wall like basement windows that let in the tiniest bit of light by the sink, and I would stand there and wash everyone's dishes because I just wanted to look out a window so that I had like just a little bit of will to live. Um, and it's just crazy like what windows and natural light and inspiring views can do. Like if you've ever hiked up a mountain and you stand on a mountain and you look around, you're like, all the problems that I have, I'm not worried about them right now.
I love that. And I know not everybody's inspired by the same things, but I relate to that so much. Like I feel the same way. You just reminded me when you come to LA sometime, there's these stairs. I'm staring at them right now. They're called the Culver City Steps. And they're literally the biggest steps. Like I have to take like 4 steps to get to one stair, but I want you and I to hike it because I think that it's going to inspire you so much, but also it's going to really challenge you like your 24-hour walk or whatever. Like this is like a whole another level. I took somebody on it one time and she threw up. So, I'm taking you. Just that was so random, but my ADHD is strong today.
That sounds so up my alley. I am so excited. I think that was all I needed to hear to be like, I should probably come visit in LA. I think
Yes, you
that's what
should.
I needed to hear.
Yeah.
That there'll be pain and suffering waiting for me.
Yeah, of course, always.
Great. Thank you. I could always count on that.
Yes.
Um, all right, here's something really cool. Michelle, we're going to need some of your acting experience here because Yale University psychologists did such a cool study. I used to tell this to every single person and like make them like study the study almost when I would work with them like on my life coaching related projects. So there were these actors. Michelle, you will be the actor slash actress in this. And all you really have to do is also, do you have your coffee yet?
No,
Because it would be a great prop, but um,
I have my water.
great. In the study, the actor, you, goes up to a random person on the street, which will be me, and your line is, "Hey, can you hold my coffee for a second? I just have to tie my shoe."
Do you want me to say that?
Yeah, just to make it super clear, because the study's kind of a lot. So, like, if we're kind of playing our parts in it, it makes the most sense. So, pretend I'm just walking on the street. I'm waiting for the bus. I'm
So
not
you're a
doing anything.
stranger. So I don't know
I'm a
you.
total stranger.
Okay, that's
Yes,
helpful with how I ask because if I knew you, I would ask differently. So if you're a
yes,
stranger and I needed help, this is how I would be. Hey, could you hold my water for a second? I need to tie my shoe real quick. That's how I would do it.
perfect, perfect. Me, the unknowing person, and they did this with tons of people. I take your coffee, I hold it, you tie your shoe, I give it back to you, and you're like, "Thanks, bye," and I never see you again. That's all that happens in this study, in the first part of it. The only thing different, the thing they were testing, is whether you were handing me, the stranger, hot coffee or cold coffee. Like, and how it feels in my hand. So, like, picture you're handing me a warm cup or a cold cup, and I'm holding it in my hand. I'm like, "Oh, that's cold," or like, "Oh, that's hot." That's the only difference. And then later, the people doing the study go up to these strangers. So I just went about my day. I had this 15-second interaction with you where I held your coffee. Some people held the hot coffee, half held the cold coffee. And then the people running the study gave me a quiz, essentially. I had to read a paragraph about a person and describe the person. And 80 or 90% of the people that were handed the warm cup of coffee hours earlier in the day had nice, warm, appreciative things to say about the person in the story, while about 80% of the people that were handed that cold coffee hours earlier, it was such a brief interaction, had like colder, meaner, more hateful things to say about the person in the story.
What the heck? That is wild. What?
Isn't that insane?
Why?
It's because your environment plays such a role in how you actually feel and show up in the world. So I used to have every single one of my life coaching clients. I would talk this through on my sales call with them so that they can see just how much they don't know about how their brain works and how they feel and how most of the things are almost out of their control because they don't even know. So, yeah, let's just let that sit for a minute because it's hard to describe, but that was clear, right? It makes sense.
No, that was so clear. In my head, I'm also like, wait, does that have something to do with why I just love seeing more warm tones on people's Instagram versus cool tones? Like, does that have anything to do with it? I know that's not temperature, but it's a color. Like, I prefer warm tones over cool tones. I love a warm sunset. Like, I love orange. Like, I'm wondering if that has anything to do with it or if it's the physical sensation of hot versus cold.
It's probably both because it's really just everything in your environment. Like it's the same way that like there's been tons of studies on this. Having actual live plants in your space just makes you happier and healthier.
Oh, I feel that for sure.
Yeah,
Anytime there's like I have a whole room of plants at the moment. I'm like, I don't wanna get rid of them, but wow, what do I do with this? But it brings me joy, and they also purify the air.
exactly. Another nice benefit of plants. But it's crazy how important your environment is, and most people don't have a clue. Like they wonder why they show up to a cubicle. This also used to be me. Like they wonder why they show up to a cubicle looking at two computer screens all day and you don't feel happy or inspired. And over time, you become depressed, which is why I had that vision board in my cubicle with pictures of like a house on the beach, a stack of money, 1,000 YouTube subscribers, like the things I wanted. I was making sure that I look at them and I see them and I take a moment every day to feel them, and that's what ultimately helped me get out of that environment that was essentially making me sick.
Yeah, it's because you're very intuitive too. Some people don't know what the cause is. So it's really cool that you're saying that because it's like these things, if people are in a cubicle, maybe this can help them right now because they might not understand why are they feeling the way they're feeling. But I think you're just super gifted in the way that you can you're sensitized and knowledgeable about what it is that's impacting you, which is really great that we get to talk about this because like I think that's helping a lot of people.
This is what made people wanna I mean, it was one of many things. I had so many cool, like, analogies and things like this, but it was one of the things that made people be like, "I don't care if you're 22 and I'm 60, I need a life coach like you because you know things that I don't, apparently." And I would win a lot of people over just by opening their mind to things like that. Because just having an awareness of it makes you so much more conscious about little things like making your bed so that when you leave for the day and come back and your room doesn't look like shit, that you have a moment of peace versus if you come back, you got 3 pairs of shoes on the floor and just a giant mess, you're gonna come back and be like you're gonna have that moment, whether it's subconscious or conscious, you're gonna have that moment of like, "I'm not happy."
Yeah. It's like such a small thing too. I think some people just aren't either they're not aware or they don't put enough weight on how important it is. You know, there's times when I've not made my bed and I'm like, it's fine. Like it's not a big deal. But then I feel it. I feel it. I'm like, dang, I wish I would have done that or dang, I got to do this right now. And it always makes me feel better, but it's so simple that it's almost like too easy not to do it.
That's exactly it. It's that simple. That's why I have this gigantic surfboard behind me because I mean, there's probably like 2 weeks away from being able to use it for like extended periods of time because the water's still pretty cold in Jersey. Like I love a good cold plunge, but can't surf in it for like hours. Also, the waves are best in the fall. I'm new to Jersey surfing, but it just makes me happy just to have it in here. It's this gigantic I will turn my camera. It is a gigantic yellow 7 foot 10 inch surfboard. But it's bright and it's beautiful and it reminds me of surfing in Costa Rica and taking surf lessons and stuff. And it just makes me feel so good in my environment. And it's the little things like that.
Yeah, people need to find out what it is that brings them that kind of joy. You know, even if it's not plants or a surfboard or sunlight. Like there's something that brings you joy. Like some people's things are like Star Wars figurines, right? Like collections of those, pictures of actors. Like there are certain things that bring you joy for a reason. And so you just need to tap into what are those and how can I get more of those in my environment for everyday like enjoyment.
Exactly. It could be as simple. One of the things I would have people do as part of my mental reset program was buy a poster.
Of what?
Anything.
Oh,
Whatever they want. I would make them, like, kinda have to sit with it and be like, "Who's the person? Like, who's your role model that inspires you?" Or maybe it's, like, a certain scenic thing, like, maybe it's a picture of a mountain if people feel peace, like, when they see mountains, but you don't actually have a mountain out your window, and I would just have people buy a poster and hang it up and just try and take note of, like, what happens when you look at that? And they're like, "Yeah, I feel pretty good."
I would say too, everybody can do this right now. Your home screen on your phone is the most important real estate that you need to focus your attention on. I know we've talked about this, it's been a while, but I'm going to say it again, Nick. My home screen, there's an app called the Motivation app. It's a black little icon, motivation. I have on my home screen a photo of a sunset with some birds flying through. And then there's two widgets on the home screen that they shuffle through different quotes. And they're two different quotes for two different things. Um, every second I look at my phone, which is so many times a day, I have two quotes that I can look at when my phone is locked. When I unlock my phone, there's another huge widget at the top of the screen, big, at the very top, and it's a different quote. And then every folder underneath that says, I am intelligent, I am abundant, I am creative, I am beautiful, I am wealthy, I am healthy. Like I'm telling you, that is probably even more important than making your bed because of how many times you look at your phone every day. What you are putting into your head is everything for what is going to shape your mindset in your life. And it's like don't underestimate the power of affirmations, especially whenever you have the opportunity to see 4 of them every day, every second of the day that you're looking at your phone.
It's such a genius tip. I write it down every time you say it. I need a fresh phone background because mine is like it's just like the colorful iPhone one or just like swirly things. It's not inspiring me. It's not taking away from me. Like it's nice looking, but it's not doing as much as it could. Like you said, it's just totally subconscious. And the way you have your folders, oh my god, it's so genius. That one, I feel like I need to hire an assistant to
What?
to help me do that
No, you just
because
Nick, you just hold down the app and put it into a folder, and then you just rename it. It's so easy.
yeah, maybe I'm making this more of a big deal than it is.
You are.
I was picturing it taking a pretty long time.
It takes 2 seconds, probably 5 if I'm being realistic.
Okay. All right. Well, that's what I'm going to do after this because I have some time. There's this book I read called Happy Pocket Full of Money. It's Mike's favorite book. So he put me on. And at the end of each paragraph, before you read the next one, in big bold letters, it says, and there's a lot of paragraphs. It's probably a 200 or 300 page book. After each paragraph, it says in big bold letters, I am wealth, I am abundance, I am joy. So you read it so many times, and by the time you finish this book, on top of all the actual good knowledge you get from it, you really do believe it and embody it, and it's awesome.
I love that. See, this is like you get to tell yourself what you want your end of paragraph to be. And again, you could put it on your phone because that's what we look at the most, right? The other thing we do the most is listen to music or podcasts or watch TV. That's just as important. Like it's just so important what you're putting in your head and what you are consuming. Even not just like health wise, but like or not just like food wise, but also like mentally.
Exactly. It's to put it in another like perspective that everyone relates to. It's that feeling of when like whether it's your kitchen or your bedroom was a total mess and you just totally cleaned everything and you have that feeling of peace. And I don't know, for me, when I finish cleaning my room and it's like spotless, I just want to sit on top of my perfectly made bed, like light a candle or incense or Palo Santo or whatever, and just like grab a book or meditate or just sit there because I feel good. And it's the opposite. We all know that feeling of like when you walk into the bathroom and you've got shit all over the counter and it's just a mess and you're like, ugh,
That is my life right now, Nick. Although we moved everything in yesterday, everything is in a box. Everything is just everywhere. And I'm like, I haven't slept. I'm so tired and my place is chaotic. And I'm just like, I'm just going to do this podcast and focus on this good environment that I got going on in front of my face and just ignore all of this stuff. But I can't ignore it forever, right? Like, I know it's impacting me. I know it is. And I know I'm going to feel so good once I freaking organize it. And then I'm going to sleep even better because I'm going to have all that energy put out into like making something good. But I'm going to feel so good when I finally rest.
you're going to feel so fantastic too. Another good one people can do, clean out your closet and redo everything. Like the other day, I took every single, because most men's closets, it's really just like you have your shirts hanging. Are they long sleeve or are they short sleeve?
Oh, you do it by that?
I don't have it organized that way, but I just feel like that and tank tops are pretty much the only like potential clothing items. Like you might have like a dress, like a crop top, a shirt, a long sleeve. Like there's so much variety versus, I mean, at least all the men I know, it's like you have your tank tops, your long sleeves, and your short sleeves, and there's not that much else. But I took everything out and I just put them in color order.
I do that for Evan.
Oh my god, I felt so good after. Every time I open my closet now, I'm like, it goes from like white to gray to black to brown, tan, red, yellow, green, blue. Like, I don't know exactly how it goes, but it's something like that. And it just makes me feel so good when I open my closet and I'm like, oh my, it's
Yeah,
just
it's so
amazing.
nice. I agree. And also, so I watched this documentary recently on Netflix, and it was this like I think she's Japanese. This woman, she's so cute, and it was about decluttering. And she would go into people's homes and help them declutter because I'm all about a good declutter. And she said, like, even when you're getting rid of clothing, that like take everything out of your closet and you're gonna go through every piece and you're gonna hold it in your hand and you're gonna say, does this bring me joy or not? Does this fit me? Does it bring me joy? If it brings me joy, keep it. If it doesn't, you need to thank that piece of clothing for being in your life, for everything that it did, all the memories that you had in it, and then put it in a donate pile. And do that with everything. Like, don't just like trash things. Please don't throw things away, guys. Please donate them. Like, please. Um, but also don't like be angry at the clutter. Like it served a purpose at one point, and how you get rid of it is so important too. So I loved that documentary. She's so cute.
I'm obsessed with that girl. I was like, is this the Bring You Joy girl?
Yes.
I'm familiar. I think I saw one episode and I was like, got it. Got it. And I think I made everyone I know. This was during COVID when I discovered her. I think I made everyone I know go through everything. And the big part, don't cheat on this. If you're like, yeah, I should redo my closet, even if you don't do it right now, you do have to take every single clothing item out. That's
Mhm.
such an important part, no matter what space you're cleaning. Like if
Yes.
you're going to redo all your kitchen cabinets, like where you have the glasses and the plates and the bowls and the spoons and whatever, you need to take everything out so that you can see it all and you will see what a giant mess it is. And you will see that you probably have way more than you need, and it makes it so much easier to part ways with some things versus when it's still in your closet or your cabinet and you're like, oh, it's always here, I'll leave that one here probably. It's like, nope, take every single thing out. And then I it's such a simple question, like, does it bring me joy? If the answer is no, time to thank it and send it on its way to someone else. I want to also emphasize, don't throw away your clothes, donate them. There's bins everywhere. Just throw them in those dumpsters that are for donating clothes. Taken care of.
Yeah, please don't send them to the trash mill, whatever it's called. Um, I don't know if you've seen my Instagram content, but I recently redid my bedroom and my home office and my kitchen cabinets, which actually is being posted today. So there's no way you knew about that one. But what I always do, even my office cabinet, you have to take everything out. Like Nick just said, you have to. You can't just try to organize something because you won't understand that there are things you don't need, or you won't be able to fully organize and compartmentalize things. So, as annoying as it seemed to take everything out of my home office, literally it was chaos. I have a video of all of it on Instagram. It was clutter, Nick, and I took everything out. It only took me 1 hour to get everything out and the whole entire thing deep cleaned. And then I started putting things back in and realized, like, oh my gosh, there's so many things that I just one didn't realize were not in the right place that they could have been, but also I just didn't need them. And so it's going to take a lot less time than you think it's going to take. Oh, maybe.
It's so true. Yeah, I guess it depends how bad it is, but either way, you don't want to half-ass something like this, because now that we heard the coffee thing, like if you know that just the temperature of a cup of coffee that you held earlier in the day can affect how you see other people later on in the day, then when it comes to cleaning your space, you really should take it seriously.
Do you think that the type of person that drinks hot coffee versus the type of person that drinks cold coffee had anything to do with it? Or like, was that person having a cold hand a little bit more irritable when they asked? Like, so curious. What were the factors that determined what caused that person to have a less pleasant interaction when it was a cold coffee? Like, I would love to know all the factors that play into that.
It's so tough because they tried to have so few. Like they made it a brief interaction, and then it was hours later that they talked to these people and they're like, "Hey, we're doing a study. Would you just read this paragraph? Tell us what you think about the main character and we'll give you $20." And it wasn't like completely like 100% of people that held the hot coffee said this, and it was about 80, 85%. I think it was 81% to be specific. Like 81% of the people that held the cold coffee like felt that the main character in the story was cold, and it might have been like 89 or 90% of the people that were handed that hot coffee thought the person was like warm and caring. It's so cool to me to think about how little we actually understand about why we feel certain ways, and this is why, to me, like, I love all things biohacking. Like, when the sun sets, I put on, like, my deep orange blue blocker glasses. I brush my teeth with, like, activated coconut charcoal and bentonite clay. Like, I can't ju I can't just do anything normally because I love biohacking things like that. I love making it a game, like me versus myself, of like, how good can I feel? How optimized of a human can I become? I had a 45-minute call yesterday with this guy, also named Nick, who grew up in Jersey, so he's great.
Oh
Um,
my god, it's like the Michelle in LA story all over again.
yes, yes. I had probably a 45-minute conversation with him on the phone because he has his own Shilajit company, and he went to the Himalayas where they harvest the shilajit because it comes from the top of mountains, and the Himalayas are like 16,000 feet in altitude. And he hiked up there and met the fifth generation Indian farmers that like hike up there and collect this. And he's sending me some, and I got so excited about this because I just get so fired up over little things like fulvic minerals that I'm going to put in my water so that I can see if, like, how can I feel even better? How can I feel even better than I do?
I'm the same way, and I think the only thing I regret not doing on this journey of, like, challenging myself is documenting more of it. Like, I don't know where this is coming from, I'm just gonna share it 'cause it's on my mind. I get so frozen because I'm like, I wanna share to inspire people, like, that you can go from making nothing and having nothing to having, like, hand-me-down furniture to living in the penthouse in LA, but I'm like, "Dang, how do I" for the people that are just coming on, how do I how do I connect points A to Z of where I am with being concise? And then I'm just like, I love challenging myself, but I love doing it so I can share and inspire it with others. But then I get frozen and I'm like, how do I share this? How do I even explain what just happened? How do I do this? Because so many people like comment on my stuff and they think I have a rich husband, which I don't. They think that I came from money and have a trust fund, which I don't. And so it's just like, how do I communicate the challenges that I've overcome and like where I've become? I don't know where that came from. That is so not on topic with us right now. But I do you know what I mean? Like it brings me joy to know that I can inspire somebody else to like do something. And then I don't know. Where did that come from? I'm so tired.
I think it came from your new environment and it's making you feel some new things. And I'm happy to hear you say that because it's so true. It's so hard sometimes to get through to people. I had someone DM me the other day. He was like, this is like such a classic DM, but I respect it because he wants to better himself. He DM'd me. He was like, "Hey, how do I escape the rat race?" And I was like, I didn't even answer him yet because I'm like, how much time you got, brother?
Yeah.
Because like it's not a hack. It's not a hack. It starts with understanding and getting to know like how you feel, what makes you feel certain ways, what is your purpose, what makes you feel good, trying to build a business and help other people around the things that make you feel good. And then usually you get a little sidetracked, you work too hard, maybe you stop feeling good, now you got to get back to self-care, and like it's just this constant like back and forth of like a million different things. Like it's so hard, and that's why it takes time, but people don't want things to take time.
Yeah. That's true. I mean, yeah. Okay. That makes sense. It's hard because it's not as direct, "Here's how to do it," "Here's how to do anything." But I think that goes along with our podcast. It's like the way the way you start is by asking yourself what brings you joy and then pursue that. Bring more of that into your life. Whatever's gonna make you feel good. I just think that people underestimate the feelings we have. Like some people are so adrenaline run in the rat race, like you just said, that they don't remember what it feels like to even really truly enjoy something. They think that going on vacation and escaping their reality is the only joy that they have, which is not true. Like I'm telling you, when you're truly happy, you won't constantly want to like escape everything your life is. Like, people try to get me to go on vacation, and I'm like, "I don't wanna leave, like, I wanna stay." Like, I'm so good with where I'm at right now, it brings me joy. So, I just think that, like, I just hope that more people are happy in life, because 'cause we've talked about this so many times, but I just think the happier people are more giving, they pay it forward, they care about the environment, they're not so focused on their turmoil that they can't think about anything else. Like, they contribute to society, and I want more people doing that, because I just think this world would be a better place.
So true. I love the vacation example because we all know that good feeling you get on vacation and then you get home and now you're like, bleh. But I feel the same way. Like I feel like I wanted to quit my job. I mean, one, I wanted to just like not have to work there, but two, like I wanted to travel more. But then I like built a life that I enjoy and I don't even travel all that much because I'm not that inclined to. I'm not looking for escapes. I'm just looking for like I'm actually really happy with the way every day looks. But I knew that feeling really well of like you go on vacation, all the stress melts away, like you got the sun on your body, your bare feet are in the sand, and it's like let's dissect why you feel so good then. It's cuz you're doing the things that make you feel good, like grounding, like putting your feet on the earth. You take up the tiny that the earth is has this tiny amount of electromagnetic charge and it reduces all the inflammation and stress in your body. This is clinically proven, not just like me saying some woo woo stuff. And you're getting sun on you, and you're probably eating better quality food on your vacation, and you're doing the things that you actually love. And it's like, that's why you feel good. It's not because of things that you can't be doing elsewhere. It's just you're creating that environment that allows you to feel good.
And usually when you're on vacation, you're not on your phone, you're not getting bombarded by emails. That's why, like Nick just said, you can do this in your everyday life. That's why I'm always on Do Not Disturb. That is why, because you can create that same feeling in your everyday life. You don't have to escape your your life. You can literally want to like live your current life. You just have to make little changes. Like, put your feet in some sand. Maybe not where I live because Venice Beach is disgusting, but put your feet in some clean sand or like just in grass. Oh my God, when I lived in Louisiana, I loved just going in the grass barefoot. Like, the feeling of soil on the bottom of your feet is such a good feeling for human beings. Like, it truly is. Um yeah, and silence your phone, guys. Don't doom scroll. Don't bedtime, what is it? Reverse bedtime procrastination?
Revenge
Shoot.
bedtime procrastination. Not bad for how tired you are. I heard you get it right the other day.
Oh, I did? Are you sure? I think you corrected me.
We'll let you have this one.
Okay, thanks. Just make me feel better about
Yeah,
myself for a second. I
yeah,
was so close though. Reverse revenge, rev. I got the rev part.
yeah, yes,
We're
yes.
working on it.
It's so true though. I love that you mentioned like it's the fact that you're not on your phone and getting emails and things because I feel like I've been slacking on social media content lately because I've just been working on so many other things. But when I go on vacation, like I want to make more content and that's how you know that it's something you should be doing that like when the noise of the world is gone, what are you feeling called to do? So that's how I know that it's a thing that is good for me because when you go on vacation and you're like, oh, I'm just so happy I don't have to do this thing for a week, it's like, well, should you be doing it for the other 51 weeks then?
Yeah, exactly. Like, but that's the thing. It's been so normalized that you just don't like what you do and you're just unhappy. And I hope that we can, as a society, start to reverse that. Hey, there's that reverse word. I hope that we can like get back to what is it that you're good at. Like, I'm sure back in the caveman days, like the women that were good at cleaning would clean the clothes in the river and hang them. The women that were good at cooking would do that. The guys that could sculpt things would do that. The guys that could go collect taxes would do that. It's just like, when did we stop? Well, actually, I don't even know if that's true. Maybe it was like a family thing and it didn't matter who you were or what you enjoyed, but like, either way, I don't know what I'm saying, dude. I'm so tired.
It made, no, I think that made perfect sense. It made perfect sense. Just leaning into the things you're good at is 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 the key, and the things you actually want to do as well. Because obviously, we all have some things in life like you might not feel like doing dishes. Okay, I mean, too fucking bad. Sometimes you got to do some things, But like the things that eat up a large chunk of your time, like your hobbies, your career, who you choose to spend your life with, those are decisions that you unless you're in jail, which even still, like, jails have, like, you could take courses in jail, you could take classes and stuff, like, you can still choose your own path. So if you're listening to this from a jail cell or from maybe you're free, act like you're free. Do the things that make you happy. Set up environments that you can succeed in. Like, wherever you work, if you have a desk in your home and you don't love sitting at that desk and it's not so inspiring with pictures of whatever you love around it or lights or whatever, like spend the money on the things that will make you want to be there in that room or environment and just watch your productivity, and your productivity will go up, your stress levels will go down.
Amen to that.
Michelle, are there any other environmental related things that we should speak on or summarize?
Let's talk about the whole thing I mentioned on Monday where it's like just because something isn't bad for you doesn't mean it's what's best for you. So just because I enjoy true crime podcasts, they're not bad for me, but what could I be enjoying that would be better for me, that's more suited to my career and the path that I'm going in life, which is I love the Office Ladies podcast. I just started listening to the New Girls podcast because I'm an actress, right? And they get directors and casting directors and fellow actors on there, and I'm like that still brings me that same feeling that I'm looking for in a podcast. I also just really love like mindset things, kind of what we talk about. Mel Robbins is obviously a gym. I have a choice of what would be better for me. Although I love a good crime junkie or like podcast, whatever, sometimes it's so dark and like it gets me out of my head while I'm cleaning. I listen to these while I'm cleaning or organizing because I'm, had to do something with my brain. But I at times find myself being like, just because this isn't bad for me doesn't mean it's what's best for me in my future. So you have to ask yourself that, like the things that you're putting in your head and like even the people you're surrounding yourself with, who is better? What is better? Just because something isn't putting you down doesn't mean it's going to lift you up as much as something else could.
It's so true. There's always those little decisions that can be a bit better. Like, for example, um on Monday, I was on the Whole Soul podcast and we recorded it pretty much in the woods, like in a shady spot in the woods, like 100 yards from the beach. And I mean, our podcast here that we do is amazing, but I'm very regimented. Like, if anyone is always like, what is Nick always writing? Like, I'm like, I'm keeping us on track always. And we did a podcast, me and my friend Claudia, who she has the Whole Soul podcast, and we did it in the woods. And there was no agenda, and we were just facing this beautiful conservation area where there were like beautiful birds and everything. And I was like, "Oh my god." It made me realize I was like it was just hitting me like the environment that you do things in makes such a difference. And I'm not saying I'm going to now start recording every episode of Creation to Cash Flow from the woods, but it was just a perfect reminder of the fact that, like, maybe when I take calls, I should just sit in my backyard. I don't care if I'm sitting Indian style in the grass with no shirt on. I should just start taking some calls like that because it's I'm creating an environment where I feel the best versus like what I have right here in this spot is good, but there is better. Like Michelle said, you can go choose to listen to a true crime podcast that might not be adding to you, but that little decision of listening to other actors on their podcast, all of a sudden, like you're just hitting that higher frequency.
Yeah, and you're telling yourself like, "Oh, I'm putting time into this because this has something to do with my calling, my purpose, my passions, like where I'm going in life." Like everything you're putting into your head is going to be a part of your future. So like what are you deciding is going to be part of your future? I hope I don't have a freaking crime happen in my life. I hope I don't get taken, but I do hope that I land a big role someday? So it's just like what am I telling myself that I am going to be doing and that I should be putting my time and energy into? It's like so simple, right? But like everybody listening to this podcast is obviously on that higher frequency because this is something that they want. They want the joy, the happiness, the financial freedom, everything like that.
Yeah, and if you get taken, Evan will find you too.
My phone's always on do not disturb. We'll see.
You're right. You're right. You'll be unreachable. That's too funny. I think that's all we got. I mean, we could probably riff on this all day, but we need to get Michelle a nap.
I have to go paint and fill holes and clean. But yes, a nap tomorrow would sound that maybe I'll sleep tonight.
Yeah, I would recommend it. I recommend giving it a try.
Okay,
I'm
that's
no
good advice.
doctor. I'm no doctor, but anyway, if you loved this episode, go leave us a voice note on creationtocashflow.com and let us know. Tell us about your environment. Tell us what it's like. We would love to speak on it, turn it into a conversation. Maybe you need some help with that and you're like, oh, here's my environment. What could I do to change it? Or maybe you got just got something completely unrelated, something you love about the show, something you want to say, an episode idea, a guest idea. Go leave us. You could type or text those messages. Rate and review the show, share it with someone else. If you love this, you've got someone else in your life that you want to also hit that higher frequency, share the show with them because that's what we're here to help you guys do. We don't run any ads. We just give you guys the real stuff.
Yeah. And if we ever do start running ads, we're so picky. We're so picky because we just want to give value to you guys. So we're not just gonna like sell something. There's some brands that we always talk about. I'm like, we need to like talk to them. But until then, we're here for you guys.
Exactly. So, if you're looking for more ways to monetize your creativity and find more freedom in your life, hit the little subscribe button. You can find Michelle on Instagram and TikTok and go see all of her new content about her new penthouse because I'm sure it's coming soon. You can find her at Michelle JH. That's Michelle with two L's, then four E's, JH. You can find me on everything at Get Head with Nick. We love you guys, and we'll see you on the next one.